How do you identify personally and in engineering contexts?
When I was 9 years old, we left Venezuela for our safety. And from there, we moved to a lot of countries. I have moved 10 times across 7 countries and 4 continents because of my father's job. So I never quite got to call somewhere home. Thankfully, I finally got to the US, and now that I'm finishing college, I can finally decide that I am not moving anymore. So much moving comes with other difficulties. Obviously, I'm not American. I don't have a green card. I'm not a permanent resident or anything. So it's just a constant struggle with the government to follow the rules and pay all of the fees and get all of the visas and do all the paperwork to stay here legally. And that is very stressful. Once I was on a 60-day countdown to leave the country because I didn't have all the paperwork, and that was definitely taking away my sleep. In terms of choosing engineering, my entire family, they're all engineers, so I was already very exposed to that career. It just seemed like a natural thing to go for. Also, when I was looking for a career, I had to be very aware of what I was going to study and what kind of job I could get outside of Venezuela, as going back to Venezuela was never an option. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be an astrophysicist, and my mom was like, "Okay, where will you work? What countries could you actually get a job at?" My mom put some sense into me that I should find a job that is needed and essential in other countries. So that's sort of how I ended up choosing engineering, since the rest of my career would need to be somewhere other than Venezuela.
What are some identity-related challenges you have experienced in engineering?
I wish there were some advantages to being an international student, but I can't think of any. The first time I realized I had a disadvantage was in my first physics class in college. I don't know if this is because I'm international or because I moved around so much, but I was utterly lost. The class was hell. I had to learn high school physics and college physics all at the same time. It was my first semester in the college, so I had no idea about resources that were available to me. One time I had a professor who would give extra credit, but it would be like American culture questions. And it was just like, hey, this should be easy. But I haven't a clue. How am I supposed to know the answer to get that extra credit? I moved here a few years ago. Or they'd give extra credit to go to a career fair or conferences, but no one's going to want to talk to me there after I tell them I'm an international student. And I was just like, I know you're trying to help us, but what you're doing is you're reminding me of my gap between me and my peers. Another disadvantage of being an international student is scholarships. They are so few and far between. I ended up hating that sentence, "must be an American citizen or permanent resident to apply." It was horrible because I was like, okay, I can apply, my GPA is good, I'm good, but every time those sentences would haunt me. I remember very well a time that the professor asked everyone in the whole class if they had applied to this university research fellowship program. And then he started talking about the program and how it's such a great opportunity and asked how many of us had applied. Not a lot of people raised their hands. He kind of scolded us for not applying, so I raised my hand and told him. It said it's only for Americans. I remember I wanted to apply and was trying to apply, but it said only for American residents or permanent citizens. I understood what the professor was trying to do, but to me it felt horrible. Because you're talking about this wonderful opportunity and not considering the fact that I really want to participate in it, but can't. So there were times where I would see a scholarship or internship pop up and I was like, I'm just going to delete it. I'm not even going to bother because I know I'm going to get sad. I know that sentence is going to be there. And honestly, sometimes I would get so annoyed when my classmates would be like, well, yeah, I have to apply for my Fulbright. And it's just, you're getting college for free. But for international students, college is super expensive. Here I am spending an excessive amount of money when at times my dad was without a job. When I was a junior, my family was living off of his savings, and I was feeling really guilty that he had to help me out financially. He would remind me to keep applying for scholarships, but it's hard to apply when you can't find one you're allowed to apply for. And I couldn't even get a job to help out. I could only get a job on campus, even after I applied everywhere. It took me a year and a half to find somewhere to work, so that was always very stressful. I would talk to the companies at those career fairs. Do you guys ever sponsor? They're like, not really. I talked to my other international student friends and they would tell me similar stories. Someone actually gave the recruiter their resume and the person told them, honestly, if you were American, I would hire you, but I can't because you don't have papers to work. So there's that constant thought of like, okay, I'm studying here, but I'm not welcomed here. They just want my money and then they want me out. Sometimes I would just get this rage. Being told no, not because of your abilities, being told no because you're not American. They're like, well, we'll be harsher on you because you're not American and we want to help Americans. And I understand the bottom line as to why that is, but it still sucks. So it gives you that extra pressure to be the best in your class because you're at this huge disadvantage compared to everyone else. So if I'm not the best, if I'm not the most studious, highest graded student, there's no way someone's going to look at my resume. There's no way that after I graduate, I'll be able to stay in this country. It's a psychological pressure on you the whole time. You have to be the best. You have to excel above everyone else. Otherwise, obviously, they're going to choose them over you. It's a very, very unfair race.
What would you say to a professor about these issues if you had a chance?
Professors don't care about being inclusive. They'll treat everyone the same, but it's not a nice treatment. It's not a welcoming treatment. It's not I recognized you as a person. It's, I recognize you all as my students. Honestly, the only thing I can think of that is inclusive is the student organizations. They're the most humane part of engineering. So as long as you like what they're doing and are interested in taking part of it, then everyone is welcome in that space.
What advice would you give someone like you in engineering?
If I could, I would tell them, try to reach out to other international students who are upperclassmen. Even if you are an international student, don't give up looking for a job or an internship. Don't give up trying to mingle in the culture of the college or the city. Just trying to make more friends will help you understand the college system better. And if I was able to find an internship, I'm sure you'll be able to find one too. It doesn't have to be an internship. Look into volunteering in research or just become more involved in your department because they might end up being able to help you out once you graduate and guide you to know what to do after graduation.